if I say something you don't understand, just try and ask a question about it. Right on. Okay, so let's see if we're in tune first. Do you remember the names of those strings?
I know top and bottom are E.
There you go. That's a good place to start.
Let's see, maybe is it E A G B?
E A D G B. And you know, some people come up with mechanisms to remember it. I don't really teach that. Like on the treble clef, it's like every good boy does fine. Or face to remember what the lines and spaces are. And my thought behind that is music's just kind of hard. I've taught a lot of children like that are like 3 and 4 years old to just like remember the lines. There's a certain way to do it, and I'll show you a little cap here just so you can get the intro to sight reading. And then if you ever sight read, great. If not, at least you have the concept.
What is sight reading?
It just means you're able to take a pitch like, oh, and go, oh, that belongs here on this piece of paper. This piece of paper is the kind of the way that if I were to write a sentence out like Tom, Dick, and Harry bounced the red ball down the street at 2 in the afternoon, you'd be like, okay, there's subjects, there's nouns, it tells a story. Well, that's what music is. It tells a story. It just uses notation. And if we know that this is a type of clef and that this particular line is called the G line, what happens is every other one of the pieces of information that we learn about music, like how many sharps and flats are there in the key of C? This is the key of C because there are no sharps and no flats. So out of that, you get that if this is a sharp and if this is a flat, this goes up in pitch or augments, and this goes down in pitch, diminishes. So, or it goes up in pitch. Here's a G. If I went flat, G flat. Does that make sense? So if I'm falling flatly, we're descending down. So they're essentially, when you look at a piece of music and you're sight reading, like visually, you would see the clef and you would see a time signature that tells you how many beats there are per measure. So if you and I were just like playing a G major chord, it really wouldn't fit on this treble clef because the guitar has a lower range. So what we do is we draw another clef below it, and this clef becomes the grand staff. This is the treble clef, and the way that I remember that is if I could draw a treble clef like this and you just get rid of the top half, what lowercase letter does that look like?
B.
No.
Oh, G.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So that's the G clef. And if you see this as being, I'm not a great artist, but that's the bass clef. And if you just take that thing-a-ding and you do this, what lowercase letter does that look like?
D, C, D, F.
F. Bass clef, F.
What does a clef mean?
It just means a collection of notes that are put inside of a grouping of 7 to 12 notes.
Okay.
When we have clefs, these clefs were not invented till certain time periods, till where music had already been expressed through paper. In the beginning form of paper, there really was no way to know that this was a G. You would simply have a line system like this that eventually made its way to 5 lines, and then the clef itself had this kind of like B-looking thing. I called it C clef. This would just be where C is. And if you wanted it to be down here so you could write more notes above it, you would put it down. They would even draw them like a weird clef would be like up here.
So a clef is like a range of notes?
It is. And it's charismatic for a certain range of different instruments. So like the French horn is tuned to an F. It would have a clef that is representing that. So the notes that they're playing don't go too high and you can't read them way above the clef on these ledger lines. And you don't want it to go way below. So you're reading these notes that are impossible for the instrument to even hit.
So it's instrument dependent?
Yeah, essentially. And then vocal range too. You know, if you have sopranos, mezzo sopranos, this is where our altos are, or mezzo tenor. Here's where our tenor is. This is our baritone, and then this is our basso, and then we've got sub basso. Like those guys that are like, oh, they can shake the earth with those low notes. So when we're reading notes on here, what we see is notes that go below the middle line have a stem that go on one side. And then when we go above, they've got a stem that goes the other. It's almost as if we're taking this and we're rotating it. You know what I mean? So the stem never really changes. It's always on the same kind of movement. And if you ever see a stem on the other side, it's just around. What up, y'all? Hey, wife. So this is the intro to like the reading the concept. So when you and I are talking about what are the notes of the strings and all that stuff, what we're essentially seeing is you've got these notes over here arranged where E, G, A, B, C, D, E, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and then you have your top line here. This is what the chord on a guitar that is E major looks like. It's awkward. It's really spread out.
It's like a piano. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
And when they're stacked like this, you play them as one. So in guitar tabs, you might see this and you're like, I don't know what that is. And then below, it'll have like 0, 1, 3, 7, 2, and that's where you put your fingers on the frets. Most people learn how to do tablature, T-A-B here, and that's how you would learn how to play like a solo over the top of something. And most of the time when I'm showing finger diagrams and how to play music notation, so I do something like, here's your fretboard. There are 6 strings. Let's say we wanted to play that E, D, E, A, D, G, B, and then E again. Name any chord. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or A sharp, B flat, E double sharp, and
C minor.
C minor, great. C minor and E flat major share a key. And the reason why I know that is they all have relatives. And the whole idea is, if you can do this with me too, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. That 6th one is always going to be your relative minor. So E flat, F, G, A, B flat, C. See how it is? So when we're moving through here, and we see that all of our notes correlate to this, I can go through here and go, well, here's the key of E flat. E, F, G, A, B, C, and then D. There are 7 notes in a scale. And then because we're not in the key of C, this is currently the key of C. No sharps, no flats. That looks like this. That has nothing there. But if I wanted to put this into a different key, I would need to take this system that I'm sight reading and add something to it. Simply said, key of C. You like my drawing skills? When we go to the key of F, it has 1 flat. That flat is B flat. We just kind of memorize that. You do 2 keys. At least I teach 2 keys. C has how many sharps and flats? None. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. When we do this and go this way, we're using this mechanism called the circle of fifths. So if we use our hand again, don't go to the 6th, but to the 5th. C, D, E, F.
Okay.
What comes after F? A, B, C, D, E, F.
G.
You got it. So this has 1 sharp. That sharp is F sharp.
G has 1 sharp.
It does. That sharp is F sharp. And if you keep doing this circle of fifths, you go G, A, B, C, D. D has 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. When we keep going, D, E, F sharp, G, A has 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. Do you see how they follow the pattern? No. So when we finally keep going here, what's 5 notes from A? A, B, C, D, E.
How's the order you're doing it in?
Just alphabetically, A, B, C, D, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, G,
okay.
Just A, B, C, D, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, just over and over again. Not worried about sharps or flats.
Okay.
Just kind of like taking these, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and then assigning concept to like, oh, instead of just saying A, B, C, D, F, G, I know that in the key of D, there's an F sharp and a C sharp. So I'm going to say that. So D, E, F sharp, G, A.
Okay.
A, B, C sharp, D, E. And since we get to E, we know that E has all of the sharps that G did. How many does C have?
G got 1.
G has 1. What is it?
F sharp.
It is. D has how many?
2.
They are?
F and C.
C sharp, yeah. F sharp, C sharp. When you say this over and over again, even if you do not know what this means musically, by, let's say you do it once a day, you pick one thing and you do it every day, within a month and a half, you should be able to go, oh, B major has 5 sharps, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B. And even though you don't know what it means yet, when you start playing and you go, oh, you have this aha moment. You get goosebumps. It's chung, it's super zen, and you're like, yeah, oh, what? And then when I'm doing this, and I'm like, cool, E major has 4 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. When I say E goes to F sharp goes to G sharp goes to A goes to B goes to C sharp goes to D sharp goes to E. This is a major scale. So notes aren't foreign to you anymore. You start seeing this by going, oh, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. Here's your tetrachord. These are your 4 notes that are a part of a scale, and then you can start reading music. If you're like, I got this thing in my head, I'm like, da 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 da. You can sit down and like hit the note and then write it on a piece of paper. And the more you do it, it's just like writing a sentence. When we were 4 and 5, we didn't understand how to write like a sentence, then change out a word for another word. It's across from. It's juxtaposed. Well, that's what music is. You don't always start sentences with this juxtaposition. It starts off blah 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 blah, twinkle twinkle little star, and it turns into Radiohead. This is the beginning of it. And if you dig, if this itched that little part of your brain just ever so slightly, awesome. Let's do a chord review. Let's make sure that E sounds good. Since we're playing E major, let's hit this G sharp, this E, and this B. So if I were to do this right here, we'd have our G sharp. Yeah, you see it? So first string, second string, third string, leave that first finger because the first finger just feels great on the first fret. There it is. Now touch the first string with your first finger.
First string with first finger.
That's the 6th string. It is. And all these are experiences, right? And eventually we never talk about what these numbers are anymore. We just start saying chords and stuff. I'm like, oh, extended chord. You're just like, oh, I get it. So first finger, touch 1, 2, and then leave it on 3. So that's 1.
Wait, 1 is up here, right?
That's 6.
Okay, this is 6.
For sure.
1.
1, touch 2.
1, touch 2.
Touch 3.
Touch
Right.
3.
Oh, so you do it. Third string. There you go, and leave it there. Now, do you realize how your first finger is on the G sharp? That's its home. And
G sharp.
Yeah, because that
On G
string
sharp.
is the G string. You just augmented it by a half step so you achieve a G sharp. When we have our middle finger, we can go to the D string, which is right next to it, and then put our finger right there. Cool, so give me the bird. Oh, there it is. Now throw it on your 4 string. And if you need be, just count them. This is a great exercise for your fingers too. So you can do this and count them down. You should be on the 3 here and go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you feel your strings. It shows you what the distances are between them. So it just starts writing a program in your computer. Then we're going to take that and move it 1 more.
Which one? 1 more.
To the A string, the 5 string. So middle finger, try that.
Middle finger.
There you go, to the 5.
To the 5.
And here's where you have an option. You can either use your finger and smoosh both of these with 1 finger, or you can use 2 fingers. Since your middle finger is longer, I would put your middle finger down here on the A string. There you go, and then right underneath it, throw that down. Now not on fret 3, but right under. Cool. Play that chord if it sounds close. If it sounds like that.
This is the E
major.
E major.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were playing G for some reason.
No, and watch this. Here's where the lesson, the explanation comes in. I know we started off with C minor here, but we're transmorphed into E major. Now watch this. If E flat has a B flat from the key of F, B, C, D, E flat has 2. That's the order of operations. When we're trying to do this, this is a circle of fifths, circle of fourths. So C, D, E, F, C, D, E, F, F, G, A, B. They become flats. Yeah. B, C, D, E. So our E flat has 2 flats. Now watch what happens when we just augment every single one of these notes. E flat becomes an E natural. F natural becomes an F sharp. G natural becomes G sharp. A natural. No, that's not right. E flat has 3. My brain's not working. Sorry. B flat, E flat, A flat. F has 1, B flat has 2, E flat has 3. When we do this, that becomes our natural, and then sharp, sharp. This is one of the weirder things that I teach all the students in the beginning, which kind of helps the brain, but not really if this is already a lot of information. 1, it's recorded. 2, we're going to go over this indefinitely. Watch this, ready? How many notes are in a scale?
7.
Yeah. If E major has 4 sharps, how many flats does E flat have? And you can look at it for visual reference.
3?
Yes. Now check it out. Here's our circle. It's kind of there. How many sharps or flats does the key of C have?
None.
How many sharps does the key of C sharp have? Ready?
None. The key of C sharp. What do you say? How many flats does it have?
Either way, how many sharps does C have?
None.
How many sharps does C sharp have?
7.
All of them. How many flats does C have?
None.
How many flats does C flat have?
7.
All of them.
Okay.
Now here, let's pick a weirder one. G. G has how many sharps? C has none, G has?
1.
What is that first sharp?
F.
Are you ready?
F sharp.
How many notes are there in a scale?
7.
If G major has 1 sharp, how many flats does G flat have?
6.
Yes. What's the only note in G flat that is not a flat?
So F sharp.
G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, F. Did that click?
I didn't hear what you said this last time.
Let's draw it out. Because this is one of the hardest things to understand, and once this clicks, you have an instant understanding of how to name any chord or key. And it'll take a little practice, but how about D? Ready? If C has no sharps and flats, and G has 1 and it's F sharp, D has 2. So when we spell D major, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and I say, how many sharps are there in the key of D?
How many sharps in the key of D? Oh, 3. 2.
2?
2.
How many notes in a scale?
7.
How many flats are in the key of D flat?
5.
What are the only 2 notes in the key of D flat that are not flattened?
F and C.
You betcha. So you can quite literally call any key now. D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C. And I don't know, you don't know, but this is invaluable. This is college level. Like if you got this concept immediately, 10 out of 10, we could go in a different direction from this.
Right.
If this made no sense, like 2 out of 10, this is something we work on so it strengthens the concept behind this. Because now you can go, how do you spell D major?
D, F sharp, A.
Yeah, triads. How do you make a major a minor? Flatten the median. How do you spell a D minor? D, F, A. It gets a little weird, and I'll take you to another realm where we could even go like D double flat, E double flat, F flat, G double flat.
What is a double flat?
It is exactly what it sounds like. It just moves down, and it's just naming. So a D, here's a D, here's a D flat, here's a D double flat. What's another name for a D double flat? C, C natural.
Okay.
There are some composers and authors, arrangers that would, for purposes of, have this. It's necessary in music to have a double flat to achieve a chord called a diminished. What happens is we use a double flattening for the context of spelling. Because when talking, I don't want to say things twice. When talking about this chord, I would need to flatten the 3, flatten the 5, and flatten the 7 twice. That makes sense? Okay.
Why you gotta flatten it twice?
Or else you wouldn't have the same distances between these 7 notes. If I wanted to make this D major into a D dim, I would call it like this. It would now be a D. I would flatten my 3 to an F natural. I would flatten my 5 to an A flat. And I would take my C to a C natural and then to a B. But I don't call it a B. I call it a C double flat. Because B is already in the chord utilizing A position. It is the 6th. It cannot be named as such. The diminished uses the seventh, whether in a major or a minor form. It just happens this particular chord, when you flatten this again, the pull that goes towards the dominant has way less of a distance to travel, so the ear is pulled between what kind of chord you're creating. And all this super is, I mean, we haven't discussed this yet, but all this truly is when you stack notes, it's called tertiary harmony. That's all music is. Feeling whether the distance between these is a major third or a minor third, and it doesn't cause tension with any of the other notes. So when we start getting cattywampus on here and we do double sharp, if there's a double flat, there's a double sharp too. We can do a flat here and then a double flat. So it turns a chord that would have had symmetry, where are we, E, like this, right, into something like this. Yum yuck. It's like James Bond chords and stuff, major minor feels. So I gotta say, that's a huge explanation towards the realm of like intermediate and advanced understanding of what all this, and really what we're just working on is chord shapes, trying to get them to come out, because that really is the hardest part about the physical part of guitar, right?
Yeah.
But what you just did was super amazing. And here, let's just break it down to brass tacks, right? How many sharps and flats in the key of C?
0.
0. Let's make it our first extended chord. Ready? Here's our clefs, grand staff. Here's our high-end treble clef. Here's our low-end bass clef. Pick any one of these. You can do the prime, major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, or the major seventh.
I'll just do A.
Cool. A, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a perfect one because C major and A minor share a key signature. No sharps and flats. So when we're building this A, if we wanted to spell it, how would we spell A in tertiary means? How would we see our major thirds? We would skip.
A, C.
You got it. A, C.
E.
Yes, for sure. Let's say that we wanted to make this into a chord called an A minor 7. We would have our A, our C, our E, and then what would the seventh be if we were just counting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. So if we took A minor and we said A minor 7, what is that through the eyes of the major? What is that note, like the G, in the eyes of the C? What would this note be through the eyes of this if we were to lay these down? Instead of having just a 1, 3, 6, 1, 3, 5, 7, we now have like a 1, 3, 5, 6. That would spell out this chord, C6, because all of the notes would be the same. How do you spell A minor? A, C, E, and then what was our 7?
G.
Nice.
Hey, those are notes
Yeah,
in the A7?
yeah, they're individual notes, pitches. And when you get the frequencies of the C, the E, and the G, what happens is they layer over themselves in such a particular fashion where you have peaks and troughs. This is where your ear vibrates. That's why it sounds like a consonant, which sounds great, or a dissonance that does not. But the whole point of music is to have the consonances and the dissonances to feel the push and pull, to have notes that are playing and then the space between, so you have gratitude for the notes, for
Tension
and release. Yeah. So all these concepts are like kind of like scientific, mathematical, and advanced. But what we're working on is just like, how do you spell a C major?
So C, E, G.
Cool. C, E, G, and then what's the 6?
1, 2, 3, 4. Do you count the C?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
A.
Cool.
So it is the same.
They're the exact same spelling. You're just hearing one from the standpoint of A minor, and then you're hearing one from the standpoint of C. Same thing. They just have a different feeling and a different naming. You can name them in different ways.
So you physically play the same thing on the piano?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happens is you move notes around. Instead of having here like this would be called an A minor. This is the 6th of the chord, so I would call it like this. Side note, whenever you see a semicolon anywhere in music, it means music analyzation. Our treble clef should have a ball here and a ball here, and then here's 2 balls. Music analyzation. You're analyzing notes on a clef. When we see in the key of C major, what is the 6th? It's A. We are spelling the chord of A minor, but if we wanted to take this note and move it to a different place, like up here, we would be calling it an inversion. Now, I'll get into this later with you, but if we didn't have this note here, like a 7th, if this was just an A minor and a C major, you would have A, C, E. Notice how I'm writing the root of the chord on the bottom and then going up. That's how we read music. You always start analyzing music from the note on the bottom up. You'll take an A, C, E and move forward. If I wanted to move this chord that was this now can be changed to put the A up here, and this would have a little 6. It means first inversion. It simply means when the ear hears this, it's not hearing the A on the bottom anymore, it's hearing the C on the bottom, and it's the same note. Then if we move it again with the E on the bottom, we have a secondary inversion, which uses a 6/4 combination. It's about the spacing, it's the resolutions. It's a little bit more, it's more complex. I'll lay it out for you. We'll do some piano stuff if you want to, so you can have fun with that. But the major takeaway from this concept today is the relative minor and the relative major share a key. In the key of C major, we can create chords. And if we're creating chords, some of the most common ones are utilizing the major 7th and the minor 7th. Notice how I write the major with a capital M and the minor with a lowercase. Otherwise can be known as a diminished 7th. This one doesn't have it, it's major 7th. But you'll see it as being a triangle. So if we were to spell this chord, C major 7, how would we spell that using our key of C major right here? Ready?
C, E, G.
Wonderful. And then what is the major 7th? Not the minor 7, not a C7. You want a C major 7.
B.
Correct. So when we put this here, we need to look at where their lowest notes are. Play the open E. Just 6th string, lowest string. Just the lowest tone. Just the E. Cool. Now listen to this. This is what we call an E2. E1 we don't have. That's reserved for the bass, which is why bass is the lowest. It's the same as the guitar. And here's our E up top here. And here's our E, and then here's middle E, or E4. So E4, here's middle C, here is the E4. When we go downward, we have E, this goes to D and C, B, A, G, F, E. This E to this E is from, so we need to go down one more. Does that make sense? Okay, watch. Here is G, F, E, D, C. This C is the same as the ledger line above the clef. These two notes are the exact same notes. The note below C, the only reason why is we just don't want all this clef put together. This is a huge space which just represents, oh, you can do either or. When it's written here, you play with your left hand on a piano. When it's written here as a C, you play with your right hand. That's the differentiating factor. When we're going down, this is our C, below it is a B, right? And then we have a A, top line of the bass clef. Right below it, A is a what?
A G.
G. And then what is the bass clef? What's another name for the bass clef? The F clef. You got it. Right below an F is an E. That E is E3. This E is E4. But the lowest note on your guitar isn't this note, is it? Play your 6th string. It's this one, which is an E2. So we got to go down here and see that F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. So when we're forming this chord, if I wanted to play a C major 7 and most people play it this way, the lowest note on this is in fact not the C. It's going to be the E. And what happens is it converts this chord, this one, rather than having an inversion, first inversion, second inversion, it would have a third inversion. And we call them 7, 7-2, 7-3. There's different meanings for it depending on where the major seventh and the sixth are, stuff like that. So essentially what we're doing is we're creating a chord. When you see this, the next note we would have would be on the B string would be the C. So open and then put your ring finger right here. 3rd fret, ring finger. You betcha. Go over a string, 5 string. Not there. It is perfect. You're gonna layer on your middle finger right there. And that's gonna give you your B note. And you want to play that note. That's it. And you don't see it yet, but here's the B open. Here's an E. This is an open G. And this is an open E, this is a C, and this is a B. What you've done is you've taken your C, E, G, and you've replaced this top C with a B note. Hence, major 7.
But I'm not even playing the B note.
Correct. It's open. Without putting put your finger down right there. Second string, 1st fret.
2nd string, 1st.
Boom. Play that. C major. That's just this. When you relieve that first finger, not that first finger.
That sounded kind of pretty.
There you go. Where we're at? Oh, that's good, but play all the strings or else it gives it an E minor quality. And I don't have all the time in the world to explain it, but E minor feels like C major 7. I'll explain it to you guys relatively later. And then just for our last thing, keep that C note on there and put your finger right here, your pinky, on not the B, but the note that's in the major 7th called the B flat. This is the major 7th. The minor 7th is equivalent to the flat 7. So when you play C major and you make this little triangle, which should be familiar because it looks like your D7. So form your C. There you go. And then rather than playing the B, play the B flat. So your pinky is on the 4 string.
On the 4.
That's the 5.
6, 5.
There it is. Boom.
Boom. Like this? Or
Not
not?
crazy? Not the 4. Sorry, 3.
3.
There you go. Play it. Let's hear if it sounds cool. There you go. Do you hear the difference between the C major 7 and the C dominant?
This is the C major 7.
Play a C major. Release the first finger. And then put that first finger back and then put the pinky on. So you have that little backwards looking triangle. You hear that? And if you do those in 4/4 strumming, you've got the opening sequence to Something in the Way She Moves by the Beatles. Want to play it? Do you know that song well enough?
I don't know.
Just do downstrokes for me.
What is this one, this chord?
Just open, C major 7. That's the one that we were just talking about. It would look like that.
Okay.
Cool?
And what were you saying?
So play C major. Put your first finger down. Cool. Now lift that finger. Now put that finger back down and put the pinky down as well. So you're doing 2 fingers at the same time. There you go. Do you hear how you just move between 3 notes? Now here's where it gets interesting, fun, and hard. Maybe.
I don't really like how this one sounds for some reason.
The dominant, it's called a dominant, and the idea is your ear will get used to it. Are you familiar with what the F major is yet? The bar chord?
Major. Boom, boom. Isn't this a F chord?
Yeah, going up. Have you tried it as a bar chord yet?
A little bit. Boom.
Is that a good camera angle? I don't know. I don't do this. How you doing out there in TV land? Hey, Mountain. Do.
Is this a F chord?
Yes. Yeah. So the practice of practicing that one is our E major. Right? So if you play your E major.
E major.
So ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. First finger, first fret.
Third finger. Oh.
There you go.
Third string.
Well, you can either count bottom or top. You can go 6, 5, 4, 3.
6, 5, 4, 3.
Boom. And then you can take your middle finger and go 6, 5. Oh, and then this one 6, 5, 4, and go just right above it. That's your E major, right? Finger right above. The art is same fret, yeah, right onto it. It's gonna feel weird. Here's your E minor, E major. So knowing the difference between major and minor is what we were just talking about. We talked about it through the eyes of D. It was D, F sharp A. Well, this one is E, G sharp B. So E, G, B. Difference. And the whole idea between what I was showing you is the teeter-totters. So take that thumb too, be mindful of putting it right in the back, and then swing those fingies forward a little bit, like they're rocking. There you go. And is that thumb looking like mine? Is it doing this? There you go. And feels a little weird, doesn't it?
I don't know if I have a long thumb or something.
You do have a long thumb. I got short little
It's hard.
dainty schoolhouse rock fingers. It's great. All right. And that E major, when we do this, the whole point of those teeter-totters was to convert that E major in the first fingering to our secondary fingering. Cool. How does that feel for you? So take it out. There you go. And see how that thumb's up there? You're going to have a little bit more pulling it back here, right? And watch what happens when you move this up. Go up a half step. And then watch where this finger is. When your thumb is up here, it's almost impossible to put your finger on a bar. When your thumb is down here, or not even on, you're simply just putting the bar there. And what happens is, the pressure it would take to not drop the guitar by just doing this is about the pressure you need for a bar chord. Over a period of time of doing this, your hand will figure out where the best place is for that bar chord. I can't do it like this, but I've got some students that put it all the way up crazy. And they do it. I just can't do that. I would call it improper, but they're able to play fine. So, who knows?
Pressure?
Just whatever it takes to just not drop it completely. That's about the pressure.
Okay.
And then one of the practices is like, it's hard to make bar chords below the fifth. So go to the fifth and try working your bar chords up. If you can get every note come out, great. If you're like that, you're like, oh, well, move this down just a tiny hair. Eventually, you'll find the perfect place to play. And then again, it's when you clock 200 hours, playing songs. I know it seems like a lot, but it really isn't. If you play half an hour every week, it'll hit that. And the whole idea behind that is same thing in this. So like E major, F major, E major, E major, F major. You just get really used to playing that E major in a couple different ways, right? Close, that's your F sharp minor, that's great. And then throw your middle finger down on that major note. And see how your hands are doing this? Over a period of time, they start becoming pointy because you're practicing what?
Spiders.
You betcha. When you practice these spiders, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, they get your fingers moving in a fashion where you come down on the note rather than laying flat. Cool. So, contingent upon what we were just doing, here's C major. Put the first finger down so you can control the whole thing. You got it. Cool. That's C major, and then let's try A major. A major is fun, right? A major is a pain in the butt. You know A minor. It looks exactly like E major, right? So play E major for me. Take that whole grouping and go over, so you're now putting your first finger on the C note, second string, beep boop, and then layer it on.
Just the first finger?
Oh, just all of it. You move the whole shape. There you go. There's your A minor. Now, what differentiates an A minor and an A major is this. A minor is spelled A-C-E. How do you spell A major then?
A-C-E, no.
A-C sharp E.
C sharp.
Because it was A-C-E. Ace. No sharps, no flats. Key of A minor. A, C sharp. Here's our C. So when we do that, a lot of people play it like this. What we're going to shoot for is this. Playing all three notes, smoosh, 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 while keeping that open.
Okay.
It's going to be a challenge. If you can't do that, we'll practice at it, but you can play with 2 fingers and then smoosh one over the top.
Yeah.
What happens is when you put 3 fingers down here and you have 1 finger for awesomeness, you only have so many equations that you can do without stretching. When you have 1 finger down, you have many more options of what you can do. So let's try that. There it is. Cool. To move the A, you would move down the A to a G sharp. And put back the 2 notes that were right there. You were playing these 3. Now you're playing these 3. See how it looks exactly like your D7 or your C7? It just so happens when we get that pesky B string involved, it's not tuned in fourths like the rest of the guitar is. So the same shape makes a different sounding chord. Did that make sense? So watch this. E, F sharp, G sharp, A. A is my next string above. A, B, C sharp, D. My next string is D, if I played it right. D, E, F sharp, G. G is my next string. Well, G, A, B. That's tuned to a third, the B above. And then it goes back to fourths. B, C sharp, D sharp, E. Also a great way to tune. Does that make sense? So the whole thing is tuned in fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Except for that B string. So when we play this chord here, or here, or here, they sound like dominant chords.
The B string doesn't have 4?
No, because the distance between them, you count it here. What is E to A? E, F, G, A. A, B, C, D. D, E, F, G, G, A, B. It's only a distance of a third now. So that's why. And if we did not have it that way, and it was tuned, this would then be an A minor. Or that's an A major. This would be an A minor. So what essentially it would do, it would change the guitar from being in a G tuning to still having a G tuning, but now we've got this note over the top of it, which is a C.
We're in the tuning of C major?
We're in the tuning of G.
Of G.
Or E minor. If you just bar across, it's like an 11 chord.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just the standard guitar tuning.
It is.
G.
And it took a little minute. It took its shape from how would I explain this? It took its shape from like the ukulele and other instruments that came before it. There was a baritone guitar before it that was called the Cordoba. Spanish. It was actually the first guitar that was created. It looked almost like a huge violin, had an arch top, and over 2 continent shifts and 400 years, it has changed into this.
Gotcha.
But this is the particular dreadnought style with a body, mimicked after the female body. And then this is the cutaway that is used after the invention of the electronics, because there was no need to, because that hadn't been invented yet.
But this is the cutaway?
It is. So
What's
whenever
it for?
so you could come up here and play up high. So I could play this same D shape. If my dreadnought was right here, the same side, I would have to play this D by going like this. Now I can just have my hand right here. This is so much more comfortable. Cool. So in the video today, I'm going to do this. Did we see this? I'm doing the same thing, and what happens as a result, you start to get more of a respect for that. Oh, if this is an F, and I need to drop this down So it makes this weird chord. You're kind of looking at your major, F major 7 is a C6. And what we do is we start seeing correlations between chords over a period of time. And here's the thing, you don't see them for the first year or 2 or 3, or unless I didn't see them for 15 years. I had one of my guitar buddies pull me aside and was like, "You are not as good as you think you are." And he showed me how to practice, and I was really taken down a notch. It was great. And then it started like exploration. So when I was like that, I was like, "What the heck is that?" And there was no internet when I was doing this, so you had to look it up. 9 chords. And then I got exposed to like Dave Matthews. And then just trying new ideas everywhere, and all that's an extension of this. It's just a little tougher. So the thing that we're doing today is, if you can hear D, hold on a minute, this is driving me crazy. If you can hear D, and today's concept was solid, you're moving the octave that's above. D, F sharp, A. Move the D back because you already have a lower D. Get rid of this high D, move it back to the major 7th. In the key of D, it's C sharp. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. D major with a C sharp, and it turns into a D major 7. If you keep that going, you get a D dominant 7, and heck, even a D6. And they're all just part of this. So what you did today is unbelievably crucial to being able to go, oh yeah, B flat has 2 flats, B flat and E flat. How do you spell B flat major? B flat, C, D, E flat, F, B flat, D, F? Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So the whole thing of it turns into something really kind of cool eventually, if you want to go that route. If not, today we're gonna learn some songs and we're gonna play them loud. Yeah. Does that make sense? Do you want to learn a song with the last little bit we have here?
Sure, yeah.
Cool. Name a letter or name a band.
I was just checking out this song, Third Eye Blind, Jumper.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let me listen to it.
I don't know if that's a good song to learn though. I feel like you probably know it.
Maybe. I do know the band. Like, I've heard of them. It's not like they're foreign to me. Jumper. Wonder if it was the title track for that movie, Jumper.
I don't know that movie.
It's okay. Hayden Christensen, the guy who did Star Wars, did a side movie. He has teleportation power or something like that.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's interesting. Good for sci-fi. Yeah, for sure.
The director of Star Wars, or?
No, the dude who played Anakin, the adult Anakin. I think it was the 5th movie. Had blonde hair. I don't know, some white guy. Hayden Christensen, Canadian dude. He said that he did not like the experience, I heard. Jumper, 3rd. And there we go. Liberty Bibbity.
I love that you loved it. I love that you loved it.
Alright, so first thing I listen to, what key are we in?
I don't know.
Is that
How
it?
can I find out? Yeah. How
Cool.
can I figure out what key we're in?
I got it. The first chord is going to be F major 7. So it's the chord you showed me.
I hate these F chords. Oh, this one?
Yep.
Okay.
Walk that to this. Keep your first finger on the C note and put this down here. And just as a music note, this is what a major 3rd looks like. Here's what it sounds like when you move the 3rd. Hear the difference? So when you move this major 3rd down here, you get a C major.
Yeah.
F major, C major,
Yeah.
and then watch what you can do with your fingers. You can either move it to your G or just whoop, whoop, whoop.
Like that.
There you go. The practice of practicing is this. Those are the two notes from C major, but if you play them over the top of a G, you get something called a G suspension.
That's what they're playing on that song.
Yeah. I don't know if it changes. I would assume that it goes to something. A minor and C major. Anger boy, no time in a C. So we have a 6/4 A minor, C major, G major. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Cool. Hold the G twice as long. So A minor looks like the E major.
A minor.
Mm-hmm. And then C major. And if you want to give your brain a trip, play the A minor and just put the C note in. It's called an A minor 7 or a C6, and it's gorgeous. Watch
A
it.
minor.
Yep, and then on the C. That's the G, but both work. But I would do the C.
Oh, the fifth
Yeah.
string.
What do you think about that chord? C6. I use them as transitions. I'll do something like. Here I went. Kind of gives a little flair. And then to the G, hold it up. And just his finger movement. And again, spider exercises will help tremendously with all this. And then after he does that, so the A section, the chorus, the A section, the verse, and then the refrain, the chorus, is the A, B. So this song is a B, A. So it does a chorus, and then it does a verse, and then it does a pre-chorus. So there's going to be a little break in here. I don't know the song well enough, and tell me if this is right. Everyone I know has got the reason to say, no chords. Put the past away.
Put the past
Okay.
away.
Put the past away. Right into the chorus.
Yeah.
Cool. Right on. I do remember this.
Yeah.
I was out of my mind when this band came out.
Okay.
Yeah. 90s, right? Or late 90s, maybe early 2000. Who knows? You have fun today?
Yes, I did.
Groovy. I'll do a how-to video on this. Give it a little bit more oomph.
Cool.
Big takeaways today is if you can visualize, there are 4, 5, 6, 8 different ways to learn music, and it's not one that is charismatically the one. It's all of them. 5 minutes here, like when going through this, if you just kind of think of it this way, is we will put names to all these. You will see up there that capital or that Roman numeral I, and associate that with a major. If a major is an uppercase I, what are lowercase? What would you deduce?
Wait, what was your question again?
If a major is like 1, 3, 5, and I was like, oh, look at the I above C, it's a uppercase I.
Mhm.
What do you think a lowercase I means if you have chords? Major, minor, diminished chords.
Major, minor, probably minor.
Correct. So you've got a major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, and the last one's super special. Instead of having just a 1, 3, 5, or a 1 flat 3, 5, it has a 1 flat 5.
1, 3, 5, 5.
Yeah,
1,
and-
3, 6. I thought.
Ooh, see, intuitive. We don't call it the 6th though, because we want to have it as part of the 7th. And we are talking about an extension chord. It means when you're putting on your extended note. That happens. Right now, just this. I don't need another note in the key of C. In the key of C, what's the diminish? Yeah, what's the 7th?
B.
Cool. So here's what a B major sounds like. 1, 3, 5. How do you make a major minor? Flat in the 3rd. 1, flat 3, 5. How do you make a minor a diminished? Flat in the 5. 1, flat 3, flat 5. And it always feels like it wants to go back to the 1. This
I
one
think a major, you just have to flatten the 5 too? Flatten the 3, you said? Or no?
Yes. Yeah, and then there's one more type of chord. It's called an augmented. From that, all music is composed of 4 chords: major, minor, diminished, and augmented. 1, 3, 5, 1 flat 3, 5, 1 flat 3 flat 5, 1 3 sharp 5. does the same thing a diminished does. A lot of tension. And out of those, every single chord for every single song is always the same. 7 notes. The notes that are in between them, called a chromatic scale. There's 12 notes in that.
Yeah.
And then how to flow through it, and then how not to use the same patterns in the same place so it sounds like something else. That's all music is. Taking what you've already heard, putting it in your computer, organizing it due to your muscle memory, and then regurgitating it with your own flair.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, here's the thing: you could really take this seriously, and within 2 years from now, be producing music and have a huge following and stuff. Who knows? Just because the world's funny.
My goal is to be able to play those random songs that I really like.
Good. And if that's where it is, that's where it is. I've had some people that have taken lessons for like 4 or 5 times. They're like, I don't like anything that this is or you. On a certain level, I get it. Me either. But at any point, if you're like, no, I'm good with this, let's just start knocking out Green Day tunes and Pink Floyd tunes and just everything.
Maybe we'll mix it up.
Cool. Sounds good.
I also like this aspect. It reminds me of learning Japanese.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, groovy, bro.
Feels like a lot of grammar.
Yeah, and over a period of time, that type of grammar just starts to.
Makes sense.
It does. It
Feel
really
sense.
does.
Maybe you can like feel it while playing too.
I gotta tell you, I played music last night, and while I was listening to others, I was doing chordal analyzation on what the piano player was doing and seeing how it fit with mine, and I was rearranging what I was doing as a result. So
Just to blend with him better.
yeah, and cutting out some stuff, trying different rhythm patterns, yada yada. Cool.
Thank you.
Sorry, going in front of you, I'm going to cut off the recorder really quick. I'll tell you what, if you had a question about any of this music theory, yada daddy 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 do, put it in the comments section. I'll get it. Here's my nose. Rachel, thanks for moderating as well, and I hope you enjoyed that. That's just basic music theory that extended into college level music theory, but I'm glad that they got to experience that through the eyes of what could be possible. But as we talked about at the end, yeah, that's right. We should probably just play some songs.